couple years ago, I was reading Tony Robbins' Awaken the Giant from Within, and he said something profound, and it was along the lines of the quality of questions we ask in life result in quality answers, and as a result, can help you achieve more things. It can help you become a better version of yourself. It can overall just drastically improve your life. Now, it's because your life is a reflection of the questions you ask. Think about it. If you ask better questions, if you have the right questions, you can get significantly better solutions and answers to them simply by having the right question there. It all just starts with a question. It's crazy. And it's actually a skill in itself, just having the right questions. Now, interestingly, about 2 years ago, I was listening to a podcast by Tim Ferriss, and he mentioned this interesting exercise that he does. And what it is by collecting questions. I always thought that was one of the most interesting things you can possibly do is just collect questions, like what the heck. So I started doing that, and over time I developed, I guess you can say, a pretty big database of a bunch of interesting questions I come across from podcasts, from things I think through, or maybe something I just find online. And ultimately what it has done is help me ask the right questions in order to get better answers, better solutions, quicker solutions, help me see things differently, and also to just improve the overall quality of my life. So if you're looking to see how you can achieve more by asking better questions, then I got something interesting, and I'm going to show you in just a bit. Overall, how you can think of questions or how to think about them is that there are these sorts of mental frameworks and ways, paradigms, I guess you can say, of seeing through the world. Because if we put some sort of framework or some sort of structure around something, a problem, or maybe we're organizing our thoughts through something, it's helping us to see it through a unique lens where otherwise we may not have been able to see it, whether it's through biases or through some sort of other beliefs and convictions that are acting as filters. You can view them as themselves as these sorts of filters where they're hyper specialized and honed in order to get better quality output. And in this case, it's just asking better questions in whatever work context or thing you're doing in order to get the solutions that you need. Now, the very first one I want to start off with is with inversion. In this case, it's why can't I 10x XYZ? Meaning, why can't I 10x my growth? Why can't I 10x the amount of subscribers I have on my YouTube channel? Why can't I 10x the amount of business revenue I am getting this month? It's because we are much more likely to find problems faster over solutions. So when you simply just apply inversion into something like why can't I whatever, then it's helping you find the problems, the gaps, so you can 10x and get the result that you want. So that's question number one. Another one, the second one I found to be the most useful is what will give me the most leverage in terms of whatever I'm doing. Because when you're priming your mind to look for this question, the answer to it, you're trying to find the variables or the key things that can provide a significant, disproportionate amount of output per unit of input. So when you're looking for little bits of areas that offer the most leverage, you're simply just optimizing your time and how you use your time just so you can find the things that matter the most and cut out all the unnecessary things that don't even matter. Now, the next one I want to follow this one up with is what is the most highest leverage thing I can possibly do? So you're mixing it a bit with conversion thinking, where we're trying to like hone in on like something very finite and specific. But when you do this, you're trying to basically find, like, I love this because it's from this book called The One Thing. And when you're asking yourself, what is the highest possible leverage thing I can do? You're trying to find the one big domino where if you knock down that domino, all the other dominoes in your life, or at least 80% plus of them, are going to be a result of this one big domino that you knock down. So finding this one big thing that you have to attack first, that you have to accomplish, that you have to do, that's going to drastically give you the majority of the results that you're searching for. Now, following up with this is how can I systemize what I'm doing? the thing is that we're trying to achieve or do in life, you have to create some sort of system, some sort of predictable ways where you can start to optimize your time for efficiency so you can work on doing things more effectively. Because like as the human propensity is to create things into habit and routine. When something is very novel and unknown, there's a lot of chaos, there's a lot of uncertainty, and what we want to do is put some sort of predictability and patterns onto it so we can understand the control and output of something. So by simply asking yourself, how can I systemize this? What you're doing is you're putting some sort of structure over the thing that you're working on in order to make it more predictable for the outcome, whether it's to optimize your time or get some sort of specific valued end. So how can you systemize something? Now, another one is the Pareto principle. How can I 80-20 this? For instance, we don't want to be wasting our time. If we know there's only a specific amount of variables that are going to matter the most, this kind of also ties into the one with the one specific highest leverage thing, but it's kind of unique in its own way, where we're finding the 20% where it can give us the 80% of the results. So simple framework what you can do to utilize in order to optimize your time, just so you're finding the things that matter the most in order to achieve the thing that you value the most. When it comes to optimizing your personal development or your personal involvement in something, you can use a simple framework that is called the AED. Now, this one is by being able to automate, it's being able to delete work or eliminate it, and it's also being able to delegate it. Now, you never want to delegate work that you can automate, and you never want to automate work that you can delete. So the thing is, what we want to do is, as we're achieving more, as we're doing or accomplishing more, we want to remove ourselves from it. And it's by simply asking yourself, hey, is there an automation like with AI or something like that I can simply improve or just implement onto this just to save some time? Now, it's amazing, like all what these people online are doing with these different school communities and all these different automations that people are creating online with like Make.com, Zapier. You can save a lot of time nowadays, especially too also with delegation, using people from overseas, getting them on your team to help you out. Or it's even too just, again, with AI, it's crazy. Like these little assistant bots you can create just to help you automate tasks and save time. That's another thing. And also just your ability to delete tasks and work from your time on a daily basis. Because if something is not necessary to do, then stop wasting your time on it. Next up, it's if this is easy, what would it look like? Naturally, we like to complicate things. And when we're always just entering maybe a new field or doing something, we always assume it's going to be hard because we're trying to go in there with this beginner's mindset. But the thing is that it doesn't have to be hard, especially too if you reframe it. There's a lot of power when it comes to simply reframing things in your life. Believe it. It's powerful. Like how you see things is how you can basically see the world. And if you can just simply ask yourself, what would this look like if it were easy? And you would just find the most easiest solutions or ways to do it. And that's why there's a saying, I believe it is, that some of the most productive people in the world are the most laziest. And it's because all they seem to do is optimize for the things that matter the most. So the rest of the day, they can just basically screw off. So it's kind of like the same thing here. If we're just asking the right question of how can I make this easy? And what would this look like if it was easy on a daily basis? Then you just identify the inputs, the things that you have to do in order to make that true. So what would this look like if it were easy? The eighth interesting question I found here on my list is, if I could achieve this goal in 1/10 of the time, how would I do it? Or how can I achieve this in 1/10 of the time? So rather than you taking 10 years to do something, why don't you just ask yourself, if I can achieve this in 1 year, what would I do? And then again, it just comes down to cutting out all the unnecessary fat, the unnecessary obstacles and things that are getting in your way, just so you can find the few things that matter the most to make achieving this goal way faster without wasting any more time. Something that can normally take you 30 years can take you actually 3 years simply by asking the right questions. Because maybe rather than doing all these different hoops and things just to someday potentially own or create this massive business, why don't you just ask yourself this question to figure out what are the key handful of things that I have to do, whether it's like raising capital or whether it's maybe finding a co-partner or co-founder in something, the project you want to get into, just so you can actually start it now versus waiting until you're like 50 years old. That's a total waste of time. Just ask the better question of how can I, or what would it look like if I were to achieve this in 1/10 of the time? Another important question, I believe, is what is the opportunity cost? If you're going to be doing something, you have to know that there may be a trade-off for you investing your time into this versus something else. So there's some sort of opportunity cost. Also, too, when it comes to tying this with consequential or second order thinking, because if you know you're going to do this, then there's some sort of consequence that follows that, and something that can also follow that through other sides or other dimensions of the coin. So when we're simply asking, hey, what is the opportunity cost of doing this? We're taking into account all the things that can possibly happen versus just one simple thing that we may be biased towards of like, all right, this can happen, and it's because we're potentially aware of it. But when you're just asking these different questions, allowing you to open your way of thinking to taking into consideration other potential things that can also happen. And then the last one I'll leave everyone off with is how can I increase the odds of success? Now, one thing I noticed just by studying really successful figures like Elon Musk and some of these other, I guess you can say, computer geniuses, and they think a lot in terms of probability and statistics, even like Richard Branson. I remember there's a story of him, how he was getting into airlines and he was trying to minimize his risk. Right? A lot of these big guys, what they do is they just minimize risk. So he took on this new airline company with like little to no risk at all. And simply because he was trying to increase his odds of success as much as possible. So simply if it's a matter of increasing your success by 1% or having like a really high percent of it by figuring out ways where you can get it to that level, that's what it is at the end of the day. You're just increasing your odds of success. Like when me and my partner, we were running our e-commerce business a while ago, we were just following a system where every single day it was just increasing our odds of success by posting or just by doing the work that was necessary in order for us to actually get results. Like in drop shipping, that's what we were doing a while ago. It was just by simply finding more products. And when we were finding more products to sell online, we were just increasing our odds of success of actually finding something that is extremely profitable. So in any endeavor that you're doing, whatever it may be, it's a matter of finding variables and things that can increase your odds of success, right? Especially too if you're entering something that may have little to almost no odds of success, you want to figure out how you can just simply increasing it, whether it's by finding the right hires, whether it's optimizing your own lifestyle, whether it's getting the right resources and things like that. Figure out ways you can increase your odds of success. Now, questions, again, I believe these are like hacks, little cheat codes you can use on a daily basis, weekly during your reviews, monthly on like even quarterly, whatever, doing like these much more larger reviews or whatever it may be. I believe like these are like these cheat codes you can use for your brain just so you can imprint them onto like this lens you're seeing the world through in order to help you achieve goals faster, way beyond imagination. And also too, it just helps you become more effective, more efficient with your time, with your resources. And so you're overall just actually doing this wisely and not just wasting time unnecessarily. So that's going to be it for the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you enjoyed it, we'd love to see you subscribe more around the channel. And also too, if you like this stuff, then I have this newsletter where I send out every single Saturday on human optimization, productivity, and all these interesting insights I am learning every single week. I can send that directly to your inbox. So subscribe to that on my website. But other than that, that'll be all. I'm Jan. See you in another one.